Okay, this is not a request video, I guess, but it was a commenter who asked if I could do a comparison between ADN nursing and BSN nursing, associate's degree in nursing versus a bachelor's degree in nursing. Bachelor's, obviously, a 4-year college degree. It's traditional pathway for a lot of nurses nowadays. Used to be diploma and ADNs were the dominant. Now it's getting kind of pushed aside for BSNs, but I don't think ADNs will go away. Diplomas may, because they usually are tied in with a hospital, and if a hospital determines it not to be in their best interest monetarily wise, bye-bye. And that happens a lot. We've seen that. We've seen mergers, acquisitions, and just outright budget cuts, right? So diploma nursing, unless they're, I think there's been a couple that are associated with the church that I know of. Maybe they'll continue on, but even they have budget cuts. So I don't know. Whereas ADN programs typically are cash and go. It's basically you pay your tuition, just like a junior college, and if you have enough applicants, and typically you do. Because there are a number of advantages of ADNs over BSNs. So it's basically a comparison between the two, but I am going to be upfront with you guys. I am heavily favoring ADNs. It has nothing to do with the fact, well, very little to do with the fact that I'm an ADN nurse. My daughter's an ADN nurse, but she actually was going to go BSN, accelerated BSN. She has a previous degree. But it just didn't make sense to her when I looked at the curriculum. She even thought the curriculum looked a little weird, odd compared to my curriculum that I had readily available for her at that time. She was like, wait a minute, what's this? This is a little extra work. This is really crunched. I'm sure they gave great education, training, but the price tag was really the kicker. I think her program was like 18 months, let's say. I forgot what exactly it was, but let's say 18 months. I think it was close to $130,000 for that. And that's the going rate. You're going to see that in accelerated BSNs at least when the whole price tag comes out, because they might say, hey, our nursing is this, but you have to take all these prereqs, and we need them. We don't want the previous school's prereqs. I'm sorry, I had some plumbing issues. It's a drip. And that's what I found. A number of my friends got trapped into some programs that they gave them good degrees, but in the end, it took them a year or more longer than they had planned, and probably in an area, I'm guesstimating, $30,000, $40,000 more than they had budgeted. But as a nurse, you typically make decent money. We're middle income. It's fine. In our tri-state area here in New York's tri-state area, you're gonna basically graduate and make 6 figures, just right there, right? Or just a little bit lower in that range. And if you're in the city, you're gonna make significantly higher than that. So it all depends. But cost of living, all that jazz, blah blah blah. But the main differential between ADNs and BSNs is broken down, in my opinion, to time and money. Because as an RN with an ADN degree, you can do everything a BSN can. There's nothing you can't do. You can get certified, you can do whatever, everything, as long as you meet the criteria for whatever that level is. Even diploma nurses, by the way. The thing where a BSN has over an ADN or diploma is management potential. I don't know of any managerial levels where they'll accept anything less than a BSN. And frankly, the higher you go, the more the degrees they want. They want masters, doctorates, all that. So it's a never-ending scale, right? So I got my BSN. Well, you want to be a senior manager, you better have your masters. You want to be a executive manager, you're gonna be better off with a doctorate or multiple masters. I've seen that, like a public administration, management, business, as well as a nursing advanced degree. So you have a number of those issues if you're looking at the corporate ladder. But most of my audience, I think we've been there. Many of us have been managers. I've been CEO. I'm not looking to be a manager ever again. I don't want to be. I might know what they're doing. I know I might be able to advise them, but I will never do it. There's no reason for me to do it. I like bedside. The only drawback for bedside is a young man's sport. That's the drawback of it. So for ADN, BSN, for most typical older adults, I don't see the allure of BSNs. Because BSN, you have that managerial climb, quicker climb trajectory. You have the prestige of it. You know, a lot of people put their BSN after their RN and their names and all that. Like it's, no offense, like it's something special. It's not. It's your bachelor's degree. I can't even think the times when I've seen BS degrees, Bachelor of Science degrees after, for a business person in the business setting. I've seen MBAs. I've seen doctorates, you know, in Europe, there's a lot of doctorates, you know, you see doctor, it's very important. But in the business setting in America, you see a BS degree, a bachelor degree? No, you don't. But for some reason in healthcare, you do. RN, yes, you put your RN degree, you put your RN license, you got to do that. You got your certifications, you're licensed in this, that's great. Bachelor's, whenever I see it, I kind of roll my internal eyes a little bit because I'm like, so what? I got a couple other degrees too. I don't list them. You know, I have a friend, she's got doctorate, master's, and bachelor's, along with her nursing degree. She doesn't list it. She could. I was like, that's a doctorate. You could list that, you know? She's like, psst. She doesn't care. We're beyond that ego trip. We're beyond that prestige issue, I think, when we're at this age, because we've been there. We've been in the managerial level. We've been high enough where we know the view is nice, but it ain't worth the squeeze, you know? But you've got that prestige, you've got that that trajectory. Those are the enticements of a BSN. You're not paid more, paid the same. Diploma, paid the same. There might be scenarios where they get an internal promotion, a BSN might get an internal promotion, managerial stuff, and they'll give it. But I've yet to see that, you know. But you never know what organizations run, you know, how they're run. My organization does not differentiate on pay. Like ICU, MedSurg, paid the same. All things same. You know, it's different. They're 20 years more experienced in this. That's seniority. That's something totally different. But I'm saying, you know, same level, they're paid the same. There is no difference. And that's a complaint. Believe me, I think ICU, ER nurses should be paid more. Peds should be paid more. You know, those I totally give you. Those are specialties I don't like. Pay them more. It's okay. I don't mind. But it is not, a degree is not going to get you, an undergraduate degree ain't going to differentiate until you get to managerial positions. So, you know, those are the pros, actually, of BSN. And that's what you think. If you like that, if that appeals to you, that's good enough of a reason to pursue that, right? Well, the cons or the pros for the ADN side are more significant in my opinion. And they center on money and time, okay? Time-wise, you know, obviously it's a 4-year degree versus a 2-year degree, right? It's not really a 2-year degree. It's really 3, okay? Because you need about a year of prerequisites. It might be a little bit more. I took more. So you're getting closer to 4, but you could do it if you have the right prereqs and whatever. It's a 3-year degree to 4. That's a true 4, all right? Bachelor's of Science of Nursing, it's a 4-year degree. That's traditional. I'm not talking about accelerated BSNs. Just talking BSN versus ADNs. So, you know, when people say it's a 2-year degree, I'd be disingenuous if I said, yeah, it's a 2-year degree. It's really more of a 3-year degree. But once you graduate, That 4th year, comparing 4 to 4 years, you're an RN. And you're paid RN money. And your experience as an RN, you've got a 1 year under your belt, okay? So you're a 1 year RN to this new grad. No offense. The new grad doesn't, I don't care where they graduated from, I'll take the 1 year. I would take the 1 year experience because they got 1 full year on the job. The average is 2 years, you feel comfortable. But this fresh grad doesn't know shit from Shinola. They don't know a flush from a syringe. That's where I was. I had no idea. It was a new grad, doesn't matter, whatever. You learn on the unit. You know, it's like I say about residents. There's a reason we call it the killing season. They have to learn their trade. You know, it doesn't matter you're a Harvard grad versus a 10-year veteran, let's say a 5-year senior resident, or 5 you're just becoming an attending, or you're taking your fellowship, whatever. Compare the two? No, the Harvard grad doesn't know squat compared to the 5-year, PGY 4, PGY 5, or whatever they have experience wise. They know much more. They're going to be teaching this fresh grad. They're meat compared to these guys, right? So, it's more of a question of experience, and that's everything. Whether you're an attorney or a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a police officer, or you're an armed services, you're fresh out of boot, and versus this person's been 4 or 5 months out in the field. You're gonna want the experienced service person. So it's all about time served. So you have to give the nod to ADN because they're gonna have X amount of time. Whether it's a year, 2 years, 8 months, it doesn't matter. It's more than what you're gonna get out of the 4-year BSN. You're assuming that everybody passes the first time and everything, all things else equal, time-wise being equal. That's my caveat there. So time-wise, you're gonna have to give it to the ADN side. That's a big pro, especially when we're talking older adults. I know that's a big, they're like, I've wasted so many decades, 3 decades, right? So many years, so many decades. I want to finish this up quick. I don't want to lose time. Don't rush yourself. I've said this in many other videos. Do not rush yourself. Don't stack the deck against you, okay? So if you give up that year, so be it. You still come out fresh, all right? Don't stack the deck against yourself. So time-wise is ADN, but a intangible aspect that's also ADN is, if you take let's take it for instance, you take a bio course in a prestigious, 4-year traditional college versus a junior college. Let's be frank. This is going to be easier. This chem class is going to be easier. This algebra class is going to be easier. This physics class is going to be easier. They're all going to be easier. Okay, no offense. Just I've taken in both scenarios, and I've noticed the difference in acuity. Because you're paying a lot of money for top-ranked professors and this institution and name brand, you better expect this to be stronger. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. You're buying the brand. You better have a better quality, right? The thing is, we all take the same NCLEX. And these guys pass pretty well. The 2-year college degree ADNs pass just as well. A lot of them pass even at a higher rate from what I've seen. Depends on the school. Totally depends. Your mileage will vary. So, why stack your deck against yourself? So, time, there's an intangible aspect there. Those are easy classes. Those are easier classes. Does that translate to the nursing schools? In my opinion, yes. Okay, and I might get blowback for it, but again, I'm an ADN nurse. I'm telling you from experience. My daughter's an ADN nurse. I'm telling you from her experience. My girlfriend's in an accelerated BSN program. That's a totally different animal. Again, I'm not going to those are very difficult. Those are very extremely difficult. So that's why I hesitate to recommend those anytime. Unless you're really all in and whatever. I don't recommend that because it's just too difficult. They make it that way, So, you got time, you've got the intangible aspect of acuity, ease, and then you have money, the money aspect. Any traditional 4-year college is going to run you at least 100,000. It's 25,000 a year. That's probably on the low side. People are like, I'll sign up for that college, right? No, that doesn't exist. That it doesn't exist, right? They're really more in the 150, 200, 250 range, right? Junior college, you're looking at 30, 40 top. It cost me less than that, all right? And I didn't even go to my county college. I went to another county college, so I had to pay a non-resident fee. I paid it easy, no problem. I was like, okay, I'll pay double that tuition of $500. So it's $800. What it was like $495, and so I got to pay out of the county tuition. It's $800 for a class. On the 4-year degree of my alma mater, that was per credit. That was actually less than credit. I think it was $10.95 a credit per credit. So that's your differential that you're looking at. And you're taking less credits. You only need to take 2 years or 3 years with the prerequisites versus 4. So there's an enormous cost differential there. And people will say, well, $30,000, $40,000 is still a lot of money. Yes, but you can easily, I'll say, you could easily pay that back on ARN salary. In that first year, you'll probably take a good chunk out of that if you borrow the whole amount. On this 4-year college degree, it could be $200,000 in the hole when you graduate, right? I've known a couple classmates like that. And then they went to nursing school, by the way. They went and got their bachelor's somewhere else, and then they went to nursing school at an ADN, and they're like, I'm already I think she said it was $210,000, $220,000 in the hole already. I was like, oh my God, even on a nurse's salary, how are you going to pay that back? Even on an NP salary, how are you going to pay that back? How many decades is it going to take her to pay that back? Because let's say you save $20,000 a year. That's at least 15 years with interest. That's scary. That's obscene. That's you're not doing anything. $20,000 right off the top. After taxes. Goodbye. That's insane. So you got money aspects. It's going to cost you less. You've got the intangible aspects. It's easier classes. It's a little faster. I'll give you 1 year. I'm not going to give you 2 years because there are prereqs. I'm being realistic to you guys. I'm always upfront with you guys. There are a lot of pros to going the ADN route, and very few there are going the BSN route. The ADNs also, by the way, when you graduate and you're working, a lot of times where you work, they require BSN. So don't get me wrong. Some places require the BSN, but many places will hire you with the ADN for that year, whatever, on the condition you get your BSN. And usually in that condition, they'll pay for your ADN, your BSN. So they're paying that tuition. I've found in recent years, since the COVID time, since in the 2020s, because when I was hired, I was still of the previous cohorts where they hired us per diems and you're just per diems. We don't care. Now they hire the ADNs or those degrees like rookie contracts in the major leagues or basketball or football. They have you in a employment contract. They control you for X amount of years. Whereas before they didn't care. We were per diems. They gave all the good stuff to the full timers, whatever. Now they hire people. They say, no. We know we got you for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. Because you got to get your BSN. You got to onboard. You got to get BSN. Blah blah blah. You got to get your experience. So we got you. Whereas a lot of people jump ship. That's the name of the game now. Jumping ship is part of the game. So it's different than when we grew up, older adults. We stayed relatively still. You went with a couple companies. That's it. No, these people, they might change 5 companies within 6 years. That's just the way it is. So hospitals don't want to invest that training time and waste that. So that's another aspect. It's an oxymoronic aspect, actually, where the lesser degree might aid you in getting hired. I've heard that from a number of managers in a roundabout way. Obviously they can't come out and say it. But again, like I have a lot of managerial experience. I was like, that's why you did it, right? And they're like, That's not a comment. I don't know. It's just, I don't know nothing. That's not mine. You know, they're like, oh, that's an HR thing. That's an administrator. I say, okay, just kind of makes sense. So there's a number of aspects that, you know, I think ADNs give you a better advantage or a better scenario than BSNs. There is prestige, and you can't get away from that. BSNs graduated BSN. A lot of nurses, you'll see, they list it. It's that much of a prestige thing, okay, for nurses. It's up to you. That's a thing that, you know, it's like my daughter going into ICU over and above my just recommendations. She did it anyway because there was this prestige thing and this whatever thing, and she wanted to do it. Now she's like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. I said, that's what age gets you. That's what wisdom gets you. That's what experience gets you. We get an advantage over the young ones. So I'm hoping this imparts to you guys. Good luck on that. I hope that answers that question. I'm sorry for the long video, but I wanted to cover that. It seemed like a simple video coming out of the gate, but I was like, nah, there's a lot of pros and cons to to compare. And, you know, I'm sorry it's so heavily on the ADN side, but it's really hard to come up besides those couple points on the BSNs. You know, it's good, but is it worth that squeeze? In my opinion, it's not. You know, and we're numbers in sense. We're mature adults here. We just want to get the job done. That's the important thing, right? Good luck.